Hello all, welcome back to our subject web technology. So in our today's topic we are going to see about parameter data. So it's in the previous topic we have seen about servlets, right, with the two demo part of generating the response from the server dynamically, and we have seen servlet lifecycle, and the continuation of that topic today is parameter data. So from the name itself you could have understood what that parameter data says. Since you have a knowledge in programming like C, C++, Java, you might have come across the term parameter data frequently. So it's nothing but passing values, you could compare it with function calls. When you call a function, if the function, we need to pass the values, and you have to depend on the arguments, is it not? So those arguments will be passed to the function definition and it gets processed. Similar to that, so when we while interacting with the web browser, and if the user, for a simple example, take an email registration today. So if you want to create a new email account, what you will be giving? So you have to give all the information that the server is requesting, your name, last name, and a lot of data along with the user ID, password, everything you have to give and have to submit it. Okay, so what does it mean on submitting? So while submitting, all the collected values from the forms has to be sent to the server for processing, and those informations will be stored permanently in the web server. Okay, then only next time when you log in, the server will match the user ID and password and let you in. Okay, so likewise, what's happening here, after submitting the form you are sending the data, is it not? So here in this topic we are going to see, so how the send data, how to send that data from the user side, so that the web server will collect that data, and if that service is processed by servlet, means that collected data has to be sent to the servlet, and the servlet will respond back to the web server, is it not? So that's it all about the parameter data. We are going to discuss it in today's topic, and it's quite interesting. Okay, so see here, request object provides information from the HTTP request to the servlet. So request object means the user interacts with the web server, the user interacts with the web page, and the user submits some data. That submitted data is collected as an object, and if that is processed by servlet, means that object will be sent to the servlet via this class. Okay, HTTP servlet request class. Okay, so this class has an object, and it collects all the data, and the collected data is sent to the servlet for processing. So processing in this sense, so it will store the user ID and password, date of birth, all other informations, and that's it. It will give back the user that new email account has been created, is it not? That's the response when you go for creating the email account at the very first time. And so collecting the data, we are going to see via parameter data. Okay, it's nothing but one way of collecting information from the user, so by means of a query string. Okay, so there is in your URL, there is a portion apart from that path called as a query string portion. Okay, so that will starts with the question mark in the URL pattern. Okay, while sending our data, and there are different ways to send it, and a simple way we are seeing is, so this is the URL. We are going to we are going to send it to the server, and by one argument. Okay, so there comes the query string question mark, and the argument name or the parameter name. Different names are there, don't confuse, all are same. Parameter name or argument name, and followed by whatever the value the user is giving, that is assigned using this equal to operator and the respective value. For example, this one a string. Okay, so this is the query string with only one parameter. So this is the structure it needs to follow for sending the data to the servlet. Okay, so as I said, this is similar to that of the function calls. Parameter data is a web analogy of arguments in a method call. So this is one method, is it not? Println is a method, we are passing one argument. Similarly, so from in the web browser, if we want to pass the data means, so we need to attach it in the URL, and some other way is also there that we are going to see it. Okay, and different ways of sending the parameter data via the query string. Okay, so different ways, what it says, multiple parameters you could send, and those multiple parameters in the sense more than one parameter could be sent in the URL by differentiating that multiple parameters using this ampersand symbol. See here in this example, this is the query string. Okay, so after this question mark, two arguments, this is the argument name arg, then the other argument is color. So equal to, it takes this value a string, and this color it takes the value red. Okay, and while sending it, the order doesn't matter in the URL. Somehow that will be processed by the server, and only important thing is the name. Okay, parameter name should match with the web browser what we are interacting. Okay, so the parameter name matters rather than its order. You could change the order, likewise color is equal to red and argument is equal to a string. And one more is about default values. When we miss out some of the parameter means, so it will take an empty string. Okay, so if the web page takes two arguments, and if we are not responding for the second argument means, whatever the form we have responded, for example, only one value, if the user responded means one value is passed, and the other it expects but the user doesn't provide, so default will be attached like this as an empty string while passing the information to the server. Okay, so argument is equal to, there is no value is passed from the user side. Okay, and the parameter names and values are of 8-bit characters. So you could say each and every character is of an 8-bit, and whatever the value we are passing is of an many things apart from alphanumeric. So alphanumeric means alphabet 26 characters and numbers 10 digits. So apart from that, non-alphanumerics are what? Can someone explain me or give me an example? What non-alphanumeric characters? Yes, you are right, like ampersand is a non-alphanumeric, single quotation, double quotation, hyphen, dot, colon, lot of things are there. Those are not alphanumeric, is it not? So when we pass those non-alphanumeric values, means that that has to be encoded in somehow. Okay, because otherwise there will be if there is a space while passing our values. Okay, so while passing our parameter values in the URL, and if there is a little space over there means that space will be used by the malicious user to have some attack. Okay, so I think we'll come to the next slide to discuss about that. So just now you see that apart from alphanumeric characters, if we pass any of the characters means we need to encode it, and later at the end we need to decode the same to get the correct value. Okay, so that encoding is happening by means of, for example, take this argument, one argument arg, we are passing this value a string. So it's not simply a string, there is an single quotation over here at the start and end, and there is a space over here in between. These three characters are non-alphanumeric. Okay, while sending these data, that should be encoded in a proper way. So the encoding is for this space always attach the plus symbol. Okay, whenever there occurs space in the parameter value, just encode it in, replace that space by plus while passing the data via URL. And for this single quotation, so you need to prefix by percentage and 2-digit hexadecimal number. Okay, so that will be done automatically by the browser. Okay, we don't want to remember all those things. Okay, so there is a one here at the close side, there is a single quotation, and that is prefix that is suffixed by here percentage 27 while passing the data. And this is how we need to pass it in the URL. Otherwise when the things gets missed out, means there is a chance of changing that URL and redirecting it to somewhere else, and our system might be in danger. Okay, malicious user may attack our system. Okay, and the reverse is URL decoding is applied by the server to retrieve back the string a space string. Okay, so within the single quotes. And here is an simple algorithm how the browser replaces all those things. Okay, so if while apart from this non-alphanumeric character, if the character is of an alphanumeric, means the same as it is send. Otherwise, if there is a space when in our parameter data, means the space is replaced by plus, and apart from that space, all other non-alphanumerics are preceded by this percentage and 2-digit hexadecimal value. Okay, this is an algorithm for encoding, and decoding is a reverse of this one. Okay, so after passing, how the servlet process that passed data. Okay, so there are a lot of methods are available in this class HTTP servlet request. This is the class that gets users request, and in the user request, whatever the user is requesting with some data, all those information along with the query string, everything is combined as an object in of this class HTTP servlet request. And at this servlet side, this object is again this object value is processed by means of lot of methods are there to fetch the query string, the parameter name, parameter values for processing by the servlet. Okay, so that we are going to see some of the methods like available in HTTP servlet request class. Get query string. This is in the URL pattern. It will this method will get the whatever the information after this question mark. So get query string. And this one get parameter names. It will get all the names, whatever the parameter names. We have seen previously argument, color. These two are the names that will be retrieved by the servlet using this method get parameter names, whose return type is of an enumeration. And get parameter is nothing but only one parameter value that is matched with this name. Okay, retrieving the matched parameter. Here it will retrieve all the parameter names, and retrieving the parameter name alone is of not enough, is it not? Its respective value also we need to get it, like argument equal to a string and color is equal to red, is it not? So the red and a string are the values. We could get the same using this method present in the HTTP servlet request class, get parameter values. Okay, so using some of these methods, we could the server could process the request object, and after processing it will build a response message, and the response message will be posted to the web server in terms of again an object, and that gets as a HTML document, and that gets displayed in the web client. Okay, and one more thing, when we go for designing the web application, means care must be taken to escape all our informations. Escape in the sense wherever there is a space, some non-alphanumeric characters, means care must be taken, appropriate coding, encoding, decoding has to be done. Otherwise, if not, means some cross-site scripting will be there. So it's nothing but attack by the malicious user, okay, by changing our URL. Now see here, this picture explains. I think this I have covered already for you in PHP and MySQL, okay. So I am repeating the same here. This cross-site scripting, okay, it means when this the legal visitor who is visiting the who is visiting some blogs, or who is giving some comments to this web applications, whatever it may be, okay, and if it is not protected in proper manner, means what the perpetrator, the person who is doing illegal activities, okay. So to fetch the information from the legal person, if he miss out some if there is a loophole, okay. So what will happen means this perpetrator will inject some scripting, okay. So when in this website, and when this website is visited by this visitor, means because since he had introduced a script in this web application, and whoever visiting this web application may fall into trap, like this user's computer system is in attacked, and this due to that script he has accessed from this web application, and this user's information will be visible for this attacker, okay. So care must be taken to avoid that illegal injection of injection of some script in this web applications, okay. And discussing about sending data to the servlet via forms, okay. So forms mainly designed to collect the data and send it, is it not? So here in the form controls like input controls, checkbox, radio button, select, submit button, lot of controls are there, and we will be passing some in the text box we will be typing some information. In the text area we will be typing for more than 1 or 2 lines. Then radio box, checkbox will be enabling those respective buttons, is it not? These are all the inputs given by the user, and those inputs has to be collected by the parameter name, and value and its respective value has to be attached while sending it to the web server via object, okay, request object. So forms has the concept of collecting the data by means of the attribute name, okay. See here, input type is of and this control input type is a text, and name is equal to username, its size is of 40 characters. So what does it mean while on the display of this form? So the user could enter 40 characters of some data, and that data is collected and stored it in this name called as the username. For example, if I given my name Prabha, so that Prabha will be stored in this username, and this whenever the servlet refers this username, that text information will be fetched, okay. So this is the way of collecting the data, and these data will be generated in the query string while submitting the form, okay. Likewise, so here for the checkbox, checkbox have the name as box, and it has the value tall when this checkbox is enabled. When we enable this checkbox, this information tall is given as the value for this control, and this parameter value tall will be assigned to this box, okay. So here is one simple example in the next slide how it gets collected from the form. So before that we will have some of the control values, HTML form control values. the controls like text input type is of a text password, and input type is of a text area, means whatever we are entering, those text will be present as an data parameter data for the name. Okay, and for these things for these the input type of a checkbox, radio button, and of course of hidden. So for this value, the attribute value will collect the data and it will be passed as a parameter. Okay, and there is one more HTML control, form control as select. So select means drop down items, we will be selecting it, and whatever the item we have selected, that is passed as an value. Okay, so let's see how these this form collects the data and send it to the web server. Okay, so here is a simple design. We are not going to take in detail about the coding part, just the overview I am giving how the data gets collected in this form. So here enter the name. This form here there is a text box and you have entered the value as u, and this u is collected in this username. Okay, this is the name for this control input text. So in the username you will have the value as u, and here this is the text area. In this text, whatever we are entering in this text area, all the values are collected in this name life story. And we have 3 checkboxes, and in that these checkboxes have the name as box group 1, and here two checkboxes are enabled, and these 2 values will be attached as a value to this value to this name. Okay, and this button has the name do it, and let's see so how these values are passed in the URL. So this is the after this query string. So this is the query string. After that URL we have the query string question mark followed by username is equal to u, like, and so why and? Because we are passing more than one parameter. So more than one parameters are separated by this and symbol. Okay, and this is the text area name and whose value is less is more. Okay, something, and since there is a space inserted, and that should be encoded by a space is encoded as plus while passing the data in the URL. And box group 1, 2 box groups are enabled, is it not? Funny and smart. Yes, funny and smart, its respective values are attached in the same name. Box group 1 is equal to funny and box group 1 is equal to smart. And when the button is clicked, so the button name is do it, and its respective value is this one. Okay, so publish space my space lives yes. So S is encoded with this encoding scheme %27. Okay, so this is how when we submit the button, these are the values will be sent to the server as a HTTP request. And while sending the data via the web forms, there are 2 ways of sending it. So I think we have discussed in our PHP topic and of course in HTML also. While collecting the form, so the form pattern is like that: form, then action is equal to URL, method is equal to 2 ways, post or get. So two methods are there to send the collected data from forms to the server. So one is a get method, the other is post method. So the difference is I am making it clear again because it may confuse some of the times, and of course I get confused many times. So just avoid those confusions by making it clear about get method and post method. Both the methods are used to send the data. Okay, so it doesn't mean get is to retrieve the data and post is to submit the data. Okay, so don't confuse that because of the term get and post. Literal meaning you don't take it. Get and post, both the methods are used to send the data. I am stressing it again. Okay, with the little different ways. Okay, So here when we use the form method is equal to get, so the query string is part of the URL. So here is an example. So here when we go for a Google search or some Google Translate, what I did in the Google Translate web, I am web I have pressed, and this is the information has to be sent to the server, and the server will translate that into Tamil I have given. So what's the meaning of web in Tamil? Okay, the server responds me back with this response valai. Okay, so here we need to in this form I am sending one data web. Okay, so the web is collected along with the number of inputs to the server. See here in this output, this control has the name as text, and it passes my input. Okay, so web is attached here. Okay, so this is by means of get method. This Google Translate submits the data by means of get method. Why I am saying get method? Because only in the get method the query string is passed in the URL, but not in the post method. Okay, so the when to use the get method means it is highly recommended to use when the data is not stored in the server. Yes or no? So web, we are passing the data. This web is not stored in the web server. Instead, it is processed and it sends back. So nothing is stored. Whatever the information I am passing, nothing is stored in the web server. Instead, it processes and gives back the response. That's it. In that situation, it is recommended to use the get method in the form controls rather than post. And the one disadvantage of using the get method is the query string's length is limited. We cannot send bunch of information to the server. Okay, so I hope this will make you clear about a get method. And there is one more example, you could just refer it. So while googling it, form space get space post, this is going to be submit to the server, and the server responds back with these search results, and the submission is like this. Okay, after the question mark, and this this control has the name as q is equal to form plus get plus post. Do you understand why this plus is attached? Because there is a space over here. Okay, so get is used in that situation where the form whatever the input the user is giving as given as a part of this URL, and it is highly recommended when that passed value is not stored in the server. So the alternate form method is post. So post is sent as a body of HTTP request. It means what? The query string won't attach the values. Okay, it's not visible to the user, but there in the previous get method, whatever the value the user is passing, that is visible in the URL. Here in the post method, again I am stressing, we are sending the data to the server. Okay, so while sending, different ways of sending. In get we are sending that data along with the URL, but here we are not doing it. We are sending it, the post method sends the data as part of the HTTP request body. Okay, and the length there it is limited, and here it is in unlimited. And when to use the post method? When if the parameter data is whatever we are passing the data that causes the web server to update or store it permanently, like creating a new email account, that our username and password, some date of birth or other information gets stored permanently in the web server. Then only at the next time when we log in, that it will match that stored data and lets us to in, is it not? So in that situation, so we need to use the post method in the form rather than get. Okay, and many browsers will warn if we resubmit the post data. Yes, of course, we have already submitted. Then again, if we keep on submit means it will warn, because that data is already available in the web server, and it avoids duplicate updates, because sending the same data is of meaningless. Okay, so that's it about today's topic, and I hope you got an in-depth knowledge about get method and post method in forms. Okay, and So parameter data, how to pass the user value to the web server. Okay, so different ways are there, different methods are there for processing the sent data. We have seen that is available under HTTP servlet request class. Okay, so that's it, and I'll meet you in the next session. Till then, thank you all.